Hi guys, we are going to go back and take a look at prisms and cylinders again, but we're going to take a look this time at volume instead of lateral and surface area. So volume we know is the number of cubic units contained in interior. What it is that if I were to take a layer of this base area and add another one on top and another one on top, so these micros, any tiny, 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 tiny. So really all I'm doing is taking the base area and multiplying it by however many high each of those base areas would be to fill up everything inside this figure. So when we look at the base area, the volume, it's really just the entire base area, multiply how high each of those figures go. So remember, height is between bases. So what you need to do is get in the habit, as soon as you see the figure, okay, identify your bases. And then I always circle my height so that I know that's the height I'm talking about. Because sometimes I also have a height inside the base figure if I'm trying to find out the base area first. So capital big B is the base area. So remember the area of the bases. So if I find this area and then stack them all up this high, I end up with the volume of the figure. So let's try one. So we're going to try the volume of the solids. Right now we have a rectangular prism. If I take a look first, identify my bases, because there's only 2 of these and there's 4 of these all the way around. So those are my bases. I always circle the height in between the bases because that's going to fill in that. And then I know I just have to find the base area, and that's length times width, or however you want to define that. So again, I'm highly recommending you start with the formula and then substitute in each of the formula pieces as you go. Capital B is the area of the bases. The base here is length times width, or base times height, times the height. And height, again, in my original formula, is defined as the perpendicular segment between the bases. Then I just fill in what I have. Base is 24, width is 20, times my height is 10. 200 times 24 is 4,800. And we're dealing with volume, so we know it's cubic units. Okay, let's take a look at a triangular prism. Remember, bases are not what it's sitting on. You need to find the 2 parallel congruent sides. So this is a base and this is a base over here. So automatically I circle my height because it's going to be the distance between the bases. So I start with volume equals base, capital B, times height. Big B means the base area of the figure, and my bases are triangles. So I know the base, the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. Being careful with, now I'm talking about just the triangle area, times my height, I know is the between the 2 figures, so I'm going to fill that in. Then I go through and I try to find the area of the base. So I'm going to rewrite my triangle. I could also use 1/2 A times P to get me there as well. So I know that's 8, and over here they told me it's also 8, so I have an equilateral triangle. I can find my height, because if I use base, 1/2 base times height, the whole base is 8. So 1/2, 8. And now I just need to find my height. Well, if I take a look at this figure, I could break out this right triangle. I know I have 4 over here, 8 as my hypotenuse, and I can find my h that way. So remember, Pythagorean theorem first, then 30, 60, 90 special rules, depending on how you're looking at it. So I know algebraically 8 squared is equal to h squared plus 4 squared. Start solving for h, I get 8 squared minus 4 squared equals h squared. I'm going to end up with h is equal to rad 48. Because 64 minus 16 is 48. I got to take the square root of both sides. I can simplify rad 48 as 4 rad 3. Make your table if you don't know how to do that yet. Then I'm going to, okay, I found my h. So I'm going to back up to my original, 4 rad 3 times the 10 I already did between. Get in the habit of writing it out and then finding the missing pieces over on the side somewhere. 1/2 of 8 is 4. 4 times 4 is 6. 1/2 of 8 is 4. I'll do my math with 16. This is the distance between, which is 10. So that's equal to 4 times 4 is 16 times 10 is 160 rad 3 inches cubed. That would be my exact answer, and then you put it into your calculator and you get approximately 277.1 inches cubed. We're dealing with volume, so make sure you're getting your units right. Okay, you should try the next 3. Make sure you write out your explanation for that third one. Come back, check your answers. Alright, there are the answers for those problems. Pause, check your answers, make sure you go through them if you did not get them right. Alright, the last piece we want to take a look at are cylinders. So when we're talking about volume of cylinder, we've got the same exact thing going on, but the volume, the base of all cylinders is a circle. So I still need to know it's a prism, so it's a 2 bases, and the height is defined as the distance between, but the base, the area, is always going to be pi r squared. So the basic formula for a prism, when I have two bases, is the big B times h, which we had before. That's always the volume. But I'm going to take a look at, hey, the volume is always a circle when I'm dealing with a cylinder. The base is always times the height or the distance between those two circles. Okay? So really it's a matter of just substituting the same exact thing. So if I want to find the volume of a right cylinder or an oblique cylinder, same process. Remember, height is now just defined as outside. So I know the volume is equal to pi r squared times h. And I substitute in pieces, I know. Pi 5 squared times 6. I forgot I need to circle my height because my bases are the circles, so height is the distance between. So 5 squared is 25 times 6, that's 150 pi meters cubed because we're dealing with volume, and approximately 471.2 meters cubed for an approximate. Remember, always stick with the exact first and then round at the very end. This is the oblique one. That just means it's slanted. I got to go outside to find the perpendicular height. Otherwise, it's the same process. The volume of a cylinder is pi r squared, the area of the circle, times however many little tiny circles I can fill up all the way to the top. So height. Height in this case is 8. Pi r, awesome, they gave it to us, is 5 squared times 8. 5 squared is 25. 25 times 8 is equal to 200 pi inches cubed. And your calculator will tell you that's approximately 628.3 inches cubed. These aren't too shabby. Sometimes they'll give you the volume and you've got to go find the other pieces, either the radius or the height or the diameter. So be careful what they're looking for, because here they're looking for the radius. When you go down to the U-tries, they're looking for the whole diameter. So I'm going to recommend you call the radius something else, maybe like y. Once you find y, you're going to have to double it to find your final answer for x. Remember, this is an oblique cylinder, so you're just going to have to find the height outside. We know that this 18 along this edge of the cylinder is going to be the same as this 18 along this edge, because all I did was tilt it over. So that makes that 18 there. So I should end up with a triangle that has 60 degrees, because they gave me the 60, with a hypotenuse of 18. So then I can go through and use my 30, 60, 90 rules to find the height, because we need to find the height between. Okay, so back up to finding x. for some given. You should still always start with the formula that applies. We're dealing with the volume of the cylinder, so volume equals pi r squared times the height, because it's the volume of this circle, and these are gazillion circles, however many, stacked on top of each other, so that's the height. Height is 10, and then substitute in the pieces they gave you. So volume they gave us, 1, 2, 5, 3. Pi, r is x squared, and height is 10. Then it just becomes about the algebra. 1, 2, 5, 3 equals 10 times pi, so I'm going to put 10 pi x squared. I need to divide both sides by 10 pi, so I get x squared equals 1, 2, 5, 3 over 10 pi. We don't approximate until the very end. So I'm going to take the square root of both sides, so x is equal to, technically plus or minus, but minus doesn't make any sense, 1, 2, 5, 3 divided by 10 pi. When I put this in my calculator, be careful, because order of operations, if I just put in 1, 2, 5, 3 divided by 10 pi, that would be 1, 2, 3 divided by 10, and then multiply that result by pi. We don't want that. We want to divide 1253 by 10 pi. So I need to put these in my calculator like this. But otherwise, I can put it all in one step, and your calculator is going to approximate it as 6.3, and my unit is centimeters. It's not centimeters cubed because I'm looking for one piece of the volume. All right, pause the video, try those next 3, come back and check your answers. All right, here are your answers for your practice problems. I better see some work when I come around and check your work tomorrow. Let me know if you have any questions. We'll see you in class.